We here at Polititainment love to read. Well, except Poll, but, anyway. Thing is, we're all super busy, and rarely is there a moment where we can just sit down for an hour and get caught up on the book we've been wanting to read. Many of us just don't have the time. But what we do have is a smartphone, a tablet, and a subscription to Audible.com. You see, Audible.com gives us the ability to get caught up on the books we want to read, but it's the audio version that in many instances is narrated by the author. So this way we can hear a chapter 2 on the way to work, while cutting the grass, or while in the bathroom. Hey, don't act like you don't do that too. And Audible is part of Amazon, so there are hundreds of thousands of books to choose from. If we just described you, a person who loves to read and just doesn't have the time, then we want to hook you up. Go to audibletrial.com/polititainment and you get a free month trial, and that includes one free book. Yes, even new releases, for free. You get a 30-day free trial with no strings attached, and at the same time, you help out your friends at Polititainment. Go to audibletrial.com/polititainment. Get your books on the go by going to audibletrial.com/polititainment today. Thanks.
We're on the 405.
One shot, baby, there you go. We're getting 2 shots, and I think you know we're getting 3 shots. Come, you might find.
And welcome to Unapologetically Bunny. I am your host, the Bunny, back from vacation. And boy, howdy, I feel like I've been drinking Red Bull all day because I am wired. I mean, I'm always kind of wired, but I'm like totally wired tonight. Of course, I don't actually drink Red Bull because it makes me vibrate and I see things when I drink it. But you get my point. I kind of feel like I have my toes stuck in a light socket. It's what happens when you go on vacation and you recharge and you come back. So I'm back. Yes. And I have so much to talk about tonight and a super badass guest, just Lauren B. So I am totally psyched. And as always, you guys, I'm so glad to be here tonight, live on the 405 with you. All of you are here again. I look in my chat room and there's so many of you, so many familiar faces. So again, I know we do this whole, gosh, you all are so awesome, thank you thing, everything, but we have to keep doing that because without you, there's no reason for us to be here. And so I want to make sure every time we talk and sit down, it's kind of like we have coffee, and I thank you for being here with me because I know your time is valuable. Whew. Oh, and also a big thank you needs to be given out to Jason DeWilkins for sitting in for me last week while we were in vacationing in Las Vegas. Las Vegas really reminds you of what it is to be free because there are free people all over the place there. I can't tell you how many chubby women in tube tops I saw. But you know what? Freedom. God bless her. If she wants to wear a tube top and she's hanging out, that's her business. You're reminded of that when you're in Las Vegas. Everybody's very free, and yeah, everyone's spending money they probably don't have, but it's a really good time, and people drink too much and have a really good time. But anyway, I digress. I bring this up though because I wanted to thank Jason. Plus, I have to tell you about the whole airport thing. Now, this is the airport jokes always write themselves, but this was really funny because on the way back. We get to security, and I've made sure to wear my yoga pants and rubber shoes, and I made sure there's no jewelry on me. And I get up to the desk, and she's like, "Oh, you've been pre-checked," which means I didn't have to go through security. All I had to do was show them my ID. No shoes came off. I didn't have to take my liquids out. I just walked right through. My husband, on the other hand, did not get pre-checked, so he had to go through security. This became a joke all the way home. And I wish he'd come on the show. I keep trying to talk him into it. But the running joke the entire time was, how bunny privilege and women privilege. And he did this because he has a giant beard and they figured he was ISIS or whatever. The best joke, though, of the day from the mister was he said, when we die, they'll bury me and they'll say Sam on my tombstone. And then his will say Sam's husband. So, yeah, it was really funny. And I shared this on Twitter and social media. I'm like, hey, guess he was pre-checked. And, of course, my adoring fans are like, you got pre-checked, and you don't even love President Jesus and all that. It was so funny. It was really a great ending to a much-needed vacation. I know people, I know it's tight, I know it's rough out there, but even if you can unplug from social media or get away for even just an hour and shut down, it does so much. And, when we're out there and we're beating our heads against liberal walls or whatever, it can get really tiring and it can get hard. And so I encourage you, after having had a really rough couple of months in social media myself, I can tell you if you need a break, take one. My husband forced the issue. We were going on vacation, whether I liked it or not, but it was really great. And it was really needed, and I'm back. He's a funny guy. Gosh, if you can help me talk him into it, if you know him on Facebook, go for it. So, rattled on about vacation. Now we're back to work. And you come back and you're thinking you're going to be dragging, and social media hands you presents and gifts so that it's not so easy to get back into it. The 47 senators this week. This has been a hoot in social media. 47 senators under Tom Cotton decided they were going to write a letter explaining to Iran how our Constitution works. Basically, they were saying, we know Obama's over there telling you all this happy bullshit, but you need to know a couple things about how our country works. No matter what he says to you, it doesn't matter. We have to say okay to it as well. So he can promise you lollipops up your butthole, but at the end of the day, if we don't go for it, tough shit. Well, I thought this was kind of cool, right? He goes out, we're doing them a service. We don't want them to build up their hopes because Obama's selling them something. So the senators are like, hey man, this is just how it works. Shalom or whatever. So this gets back to the left. They explode over this, right? All of this other crap going on in the world, nothing. ISIS has 21 Christians. Oh, they don't even pay attention. 47 senators write a letter. The frickin' sky is falling. And it has been hysterical. A lot of the time when we're out there talking to liberals, you can find out pretty quickly that they don't know jack shit about the Constitution or the law of the land or legalities. It's all about feeling. Well, some one of them, and I wish I could find out which moron did this, brought up the Logan Act. My God, if I hear the Logan Act one more time, I'm going to barf. The Logan Act, which has nothing to do with what the senators did. Logan Act basically says, you're a citizen, you go over to another country and screw up something for us, you're in trouble. So if I go over there to Iran and I say, hey, dumbass, you suck, I could be in trouble. 47 senators writing a letter explaining to them how things work is not violating the Logan Act. But the left was sure of this. And so for days, it's been 47 traitors, and they're talking treason, and it is the funniest damn thing I've ever seen. There are 159,000 of these morons who have signed a petition to file charges against these senators. Actually, just so you guys know, 2 of those 47 senators are my senators, Enzi and Barrasso. We love you. But they're freaking losing their damn minds. And you know what it's really about? Because it looks like they're defending Iran. And a part of me really wants to believe that's not the case. Because Iran is evil. We know you don't negotiate with bad, evil terrorists. You just don't do it. So part of me is hoping that they just don't make the connection there, and that they feel like their king, their buddy, has been disrespected. That we are trying to hurt the black guy again or something. And I swear to you, that is one of the things I'm seeing. They're trying to hurt the black guy. Yeah, it's not that we're worried that Iran's going to get a nuclear weapon and fry us. No. We hate black people, and that's why we wrote the letter. These people are beyond stupid. Now, so this has been going on in social media for, 2 or 3 days now. And they really are trying to get these senators to say they're sorry, to say they're wrong. And the senators are saying, no, we're not wrong and we're not sorry. So tonight, before I got on the air, and of course this screws up what I've been writing. I always have my script, and this totally screwed me up, but I have to go off topic anyway. On Twitter right now, there is a hashtag trending, and it's GOP wants war. Yeah, we want war. And what's interesting is I went out and I looked to see, because I kind of remember seeing somewhere that Obama has bombed more countries than, Bush did. And one of my followers mentioned to me, yeah, it's because we all know Obama's bombed more countries. So I went out to find out how many. I did math. I know, right? Woohoo, I did math. And Bush has bombed 4 countries. Obama has bombed 7 countries, but the GOP wants war. Wow. So you think the Logan Act stuff is stupid, and it really is. But then you get the GOP wants war crap. Wow, that's even dumber. And of course I think it was Bernie Sanders throwing some hissy fit about it, that, the GOP wants war with Iran. No, what we're saying is we know Iran will never be peaceful, so let's not be stupid and get killed because we were trying to hug it out with these guys. We know for a fact that it's not just Israel that Iran wants to destroy. It is us. They're not looking for long-range missiles for Israel. And these people think we're the dumb ones. It drives me insane. This whole idea that they are brilliant and elite and educated. They are the biggest bunch of damn morons on the planet. Common sense tells you if you got an alligator in front of you, you don't pat him on the head and hope he doesn't bite your damn hand off. We understand that alligator wants to fucking eat us, but we're the bad guys. Yeah. So that for me was but one gift coming back into social media. I was like, oh, what am I going to talk about? I've been gone. Oh, wow. Thank you, guys. This was a gift. Another gift is the Hillary email stuff. Now, I know you're going to hear about this a lot. I don't want to go over it a ton. But what I really think is funny is the idea that Hillary Clinton, the I am woman, hear me roar woman, says she can't handle two devices at the same time. Right. Kind of reminds me of Lois Lerner not understanding that her emails weren't on a device but on a server, and then her hard drive got destroyed, but so that meant all the emails were gone, but not really. These women, these power women, can't figure out how to use a damn cell phone or an email, and they want to be in charge. This drives me nuts, which tells you, honestly, that we know Hillary's probably full of shit, and it's not the first time. And we know Lois is probably full of shit, and not the first time. But it's interesting to me that she would say she's doing all these private emails to Bill Clinton, and of course Bill Clinton says he never emailed her. And the joke was, I didn't have email relations with that woman. Yeah, apparently not. But, the other thing we talk about, too, is the server. The server's in her home. So, was it Media Matters? This just happened, too. So, of course, I'm off schedule again. Media Matters goes out and tweets about how there's this image, and it doesn't say where they pulled the image from. And it says that the State Department has said if you're an employee of the State Department, you can decide which pieces of email you keep and don't keep. Well, I call bullshit all over that, because if you go out to the archive.gov site and look about how you're supposed to store emails and documents, there's like a 7-year holding period on. You could say, hey guys, let's meet at 9 o'clock this morning, and they're going to frickin' hold on to that email for 7 years. That's how it's supposed to work. So no, the State Department's not like, hey man, just keep whatever email you want to keep and delete what you want to delete because it's your email. No, it is the government's email. Don't fuck with it. And I'm sorry to drop the F-bomb, but let's be realistic with this, you guys. It is not their email. Hillary Clinton had her own email, and that's the point. She's doing government business on her email, not on the government's email. There's also stories out that Holder may have had a private account, and I even saw rumblings that Obama could have a private account. Now, I don't begrudge someone having, a Yahoo, Obama at Yahoo, and he's talking to Reggie or whatever. That's his business. But if he's doing any kind of government business in his personal account, just like Hillary, there's a problem. I'm telling you, gifts everywhere. The other one, of course, is Ferguson. And I got to punch Hutch because he was in the chat. And we're talking about Ferguson. And I'm prepared to go on this tirade tonight about Ferguson because I'm so damn tired of Ferguson. The 2 cops were shot. And in my mind, it's Holder has said, I can't convict Wilson, so I'm going to say all of you are racist. So the public reacted and shot the cops. And in my mind, it's some Black Lives Matter fool out there with a gun. Will Hutch points out, I know Hannity talked about this too, that it had to be at least, 500 meters or something, and it couldn't be a handgun, that it had to be some kind of sharpshooter. You know what? I don't have my tinfoil hat on. I'm not quite there yet. But some of the things they were saying about trying to instigate to get the police to shoot back and that there would be something bigger going on than just 2 cops shot really made me think about it. So I'm not going to go on my tirade that I have all written out. I spent time on it, damn it, Hutch. But you know what? I think I need to really look at that again. And what's interesting, too, is I had someone else DM me on Twitter, and they said they weren't sure that it was a Black Lives Matter shooter either. So this may be bigger and scarier than just 2 idiots reacting to Holder, which, at the end of the day, Holder said some dumb-ass stuff, and so it's easy to think someone would just react. But if there's something bigger going on, I even saw, and I'm sorry, adjust your hats, folks, I saw someone mention it could have been someone Holder himself put out there to shoot at them, just to keep the strife and, the whole thing going. So, yeah, you know what? He totally screwed up that present for me. But that's okay because the 47 senators and Hillary made up my first 15 minutes. I'm going to take a short break. And when I get back, we're going to talk about this week's top 10 douchebags. So stay put.
You're on the 405.
Remember, the bigger they are,
I am Remy.
unapologetically bunny!
Hey, are you conservative in the world of liberal?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah!
Well, you're not the only one. I'm Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice. Each week, I'll bring you the events, and together we'll learn about how they affect you. So sit back and get ready to laugh and cry your way through the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio. Every Thursday night at 11 o'clock Eastern, right here on the 405.
I feel like I should come out like in a boxer's outfit when I hear that, like we're going to go UFC or something. You're back here with Unapologetically Bunny. I am your host, the Bunny, and we are live here on the 405, and I have been ranting about the presence in social media from this week. Gosh, thank you, lefties. You make my job so easy. And speaking of my job easy, y'all have sent me your nominations for this week's top 10 douchebags. If you are a first-time listener to the show, welcome aboard. These nominations come from you good people in social media. We do not pick them ourselves unless we find someone really awesome to make fun of, and then, it's my show and I'll do what I want. But predominantly, the people we list on the top 10 come from you good folks in social media. We ask for you, and you send them to me by about usually 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's get started on this week's top 10 douchebags. At number 10 is, I say, the entirety of those who think those 47 senators became traitors over that letter to Iran. So all of you, and I would say there's probably thousands of people, hundreds of thousands. I think it was 159,000 people signed that dumbass letter. So that means there's like 159,000 douchebags at least. This is a massive list this week, guys. All these people who are saying they're traitors and they did a horrible thing. Forget that Pelosi hung out with Assad in 2007 and that Ted Kennedy begged Russia to come in and help him fix the election in 84. It's been going on a long time. It's not traitors. They're not traitors. It's not treason. It's stupid, and you're stupid, and all 159,000 of you plus are douchebags at number 10. At number 9, the 6 students at UC Irvine who fought to remove the American flag. Now, I can't say for certain that they are immigrants, but let's say there's a good chance. Why come to our country for school only to bitch and moan about what we stand for, which is what that flag represents? A follow-up to this douchebag was the professors at that particular university are saying that the flag should be removed because it is racist. So we have professors at this university telling students that the American flag represents racism. I can't make this shit up. It represents racism. I guess that's why so many people want to come and live here, because our country is so racist and horrible, because our flag represents all that. So you 6 students and the teachers who taught you, y'all are douchebags at number 9. Number 8 is Holder. For last week saying, well, he couldn't press charges against Wilson, clearly the entire city of Ferguson's police department is racist. And of course, only 2 cops to be shot last night, one in the shoulder and one in the face. Both cops look to be okay, but why do you think they were targeted? Well, this person says, Holder, you're a dumbass. You're also a douchebag. Holder has done no favors for this city. He's done nothing to heal what's going on. A bad situation between an officer of the law and a young man went down. And a young man lost his life. And what Holder did, and what Obama did, and what Sharpton has done, and what all these, Black Lives Matter people have done, is they have dumped gasoline on a situation and made it worse. And you guys know if Holder could have found anything on Wilson, by God, he would have. There was nothing there. It was what happened. He was attacked, he fired, Brown died. End of story. It wasn't because Wilson was like, ooh, a black dude, I'm going to kill him. That's not what happened. And Holder, if he could have proven that in any way, he would have. So that tells you he couldn't do Wilson, so he said, all of you are bad people. And he releases a report saying how horrible. I think one of the things was that the police department takes away their First Amendment rights and it doesn't let them record them. And I mean, just on and on. So we know, Holder, you've been a douchebag for a long time, and you're on the list a lot, but this week you are a douchebag at number 8. Number 7 is Alec Baldwin. For his typical temper tantrum, and he had it this time over Tom Cotton. He tweeted out that, and this was his tweet, if Tom Cotton were a Democrat, the GOP would be trying him for treason. Well, people on social media pointed out that plenty of Democrats have pulled far worse. And in typical Alec fashion, he had a meltdown and embarrassed himself and the Baldwin name. Oh, Alec, Alec, Alec. You know what? You're such a douchebag. And you're going to be a douchebag, unfortunately. And you're at number 7. Number 6. The assholes who shot the Ferguson police. We don't know who they are yet. And now, of course, I'm thinking more deeply about who they could be. Thank you, Hutch. But this was on the list. The assholes who shot the Ferguson police. I have a note here to check for their names, but it's likely we won't know by the time they get on the air. So yeah, we'll just consider them douchebags in the back of our minds for now. And of course, after talking to Hutch and a bunch of other people in the chat room, thank you, chat room. Now I'm wondering if it's a much bigger and a bigger, nastier douchebag. And wow, that sounds really disgusting. My bad. But you know what I'm saying? It's bigger than a couple of assholes who shot cops. It may be a bigger situation of someone trying to stir the pot again. We don't know yet, but we'll just call them douchebags and leave it at that. Okay. At number 5 is Ed Schultz. I don't know if Ed Schultz has ever really made the list, but Ed Schultz, last night on his MSNBC program, just a couple of hours before 2 officers were shot in Ferguson, Ed Schultz said that the only way to stop racism in Ferguson was by disarming the city's police. That makes lots of sense today after 2 cops were shot, doesn't it? Let's just disarm all of them. You know, I have seen a lot in social media about people saying, you know, if I were the cops, I would just freaking leave the city and let them fend for themselves at this point, because clearly they don't want them there. Let them take care of themselves for a while, see how that goes. Well, Ed's solution is taking their guns from them, but making them stay. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Well, of course, Ed Schultz is a douchebag, so we don't expect him to make sense at number 5. At number 4 is former Representative Cynthia McKinney for praising an anti-Semite comedian. I can't pronounce his name, I'm sorry. He's a Frenchman, and apparently he's not a fan of the Jewish people. And she tweeted out that if you like Jon Stewart, you will love this comedian who is an anti-Semite. Now, I don't know that she knows this or not. Maybe she doesn't pay attention to who she finds funny, or maybe she's just not a fan of the Jews. I don't know, but she is a douchebag at number 4. At number 3 is Mohammad Javad Zarif, and if I said his name wrong, too bad. The foreign prime minister of Iran for thinking he knows more about the U.S. Constitution than Americans. That was the follow-up to what the left was saying. The left was like, you guys have embarrassed us in front of Iran and the world. And I was like, really? Iran? We're embarrassed in front of Iran? Oh, God forbid. Oh, what's going to happen now? And then they said how Zarif had come out and schooled these senators on the Constitution because, you know, he knows our Constitution so much better than we do. Yeah. I'm glad we mentioned them being douchebags at number 10 because they are epic douchebags. But this makes me laugh because what they're epically saying is that this man in Iran knows more about our Constitution and we should be embarrassed. They're so stupid. Stupid. No, we're not embarrassed. Do we really give a shit what Zarif thinks of us? No, we don't. Sorry. It's the reality. We're Americans, and I really don't care what Iran thinks. I'm not embarrassed, and I don't care if he thinks he knows more than we do, because he doesn't. And he's a douchebag at number 3. Number 2 is Hillary Clinton. Yes, we already talked about her personal email account and her server, but so many of you nominated her, I had to give her a spot on this week's list. You know, Hillary's been a douchebag for a lot of reasons, from bullying women, and she has a really nasty record of bullying women, especially women who've come out and said that her husband tried to rape or abuse them sexually. When Hillary was actually interviewed about Bill's, and of course she admits Bill has a problem with sex, she said that she went out to blame Bill's mother for Bill's problems. Yeah, it was Bill's mom's fault that Bill is a schmuck and a sex addict and a predator. I mean, yeah, Hillary hates women. So that's what I think is ironic, is she says, you know, it's time we put women in charge, and, you know, she's going to run as a woman, and she hates women. Clearly she does. She's a bully, and she's a douchebag at number 2. At number 1, Gosh, guys, this is going to probably get boring after a while, but we have to keep honoring his office, Obama. Because as my friend Chuck Nellis says, and Chuck, if you're listening, hello, hello, Chuck Nellis says he still sucks. That he couldn't be bothered to answer questions about Hillary's email, although he says he didn't know she had a personal account, but then found out they had emailed one another. So yeah, apparently he did know she has a personal account. Once again, he said he didn't know about it until it was in the news. Yeah, it's getting old, isn't it? Oh, and the fact that upon finding out about the two officers who were shot today, he couldn't be bothered to say anything, but he did send a tweet. And it had BO on the end of it, so we know it was from him. Wow, thanks, Obama, for taking 30 seconds to send a tweet about two cops who were shot because you have dumped gasoline on a fire by telling the city that the police are racist. So, gee, thanks for that tweet. And you're a douchebag at number one. Phew, you guys are keeping me busy with the douchebags. All right, up next, I have just Lauren B. who will be coming on to talk to me. We're going to discuss men's rights and other good stuff, so stay put. I'll be right back with Lauren.
We here at Polititainment love to read. Well, except Poll, but, anyway. Thing is, we're all super busy, and rarely is there a moment where we can just sit down for an hour and get caught up on the book we've been wanting to read. Many of us just don't have the time. But what we do have is a smartphone, a tablet, and a subscription to Audible.com. You see, Audible.com gives us the ability to get caught up on the books we want to read, but it's the audio version that in many instances is narrated by the author. So this way we can hear chapter 2 on the way to work, while cutting the grass, or while in the bathroom. Hey, don't act like you don't do that too. And Audible is part of Amazon, so there are hundreds of thousands of books to choose from. If we just described you, a person who loves to read and just doesn't have the time, then we want to hook you up. Go to audibletrial.com/polititainment and you get a free month trial, and that includes one free book. Yes, even new releases, for free. You get a 30-day free trial with no strings attached, and at the same time, you help out your friends at Polititainment. Go to audibletrial.com/polititainment. Get your books on the go by going to audibletrial.com/polititainment today. Thanks.
On the 405.
When I got to work as Secretary of State, I opted for convenience to use my personal email account, which was allowed by the State Department, because I thought it would be easier to carry just one device for my work and for my personal emails instead of two.
Whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam. Hillary got a phone, bam-a-lam, and the server's at home. Bam-a-lam, and Obama didn't mind. Bam-a-lam, the blind leading the blind. Bam-a-lam, whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam.
There are different rules governing the White House than there are governing the rest of the executive branch. I feel that I went above and beyond what I was requested to do. And again, those will be out in the public domain, and people will be able to judge for themselves.
Whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam. She must think we're high. Bam-a-lam, she really knows how to lie. Bam-a-lam, and what's the matter with her? Bam-a-lam, her phone ain't secure. Bam-a-lam, whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam.
My direction to conduct the thorough investigation was to err on the side of providing anything that could be possibly viewed as work-related. Out of an abundance of caution and care, we wanted to send that message unequivocally.
Whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam. The whole Clinton fam, bam-a-lam. They don't give a damn. Bam-a-lam, and Bill doesn't email. Bam-a-lam, just like he didn't inhale. Bam-a-lam, whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Blackberry, bam-a-lam.
What difference at this point does it make?
that Bam Lamb, and he's talking about the Clintons don't give a damn. And I've listened to it off and on all day because Jason DeWilkins, the brilliant mind behind that, have been sharing it. But Bam Lamb, that is damn funny. And we are back on Unapologetically Bunny. I am your host, Bunny, and thank you for staying put and listening to that Bam Lamb song. I thought it was fitting considering we talked a little bit about Hillary tonight and her email, Bam Lamb. So on the line, and I believe I have her if I didn't hang her up. Lauren, are you there?
I am.
Hey, lady, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
You know, I'm a giggly idiot, but I'm good. Thanks for calling in. So is it okay just call you Lauren?
Yeah, absolutely. That's my name.
Excellent. Well, you know, sometimes we use different names when we're out in social media. I mean, so many people call me Bunny. I might legally change my name to Bunny at this point. But I want to make sure I'm calling you what you like to be called. So thank you for being on the show. I know we've talked a little bit about, you know, we tend to kind of travel in the same circles because we tend to make the same kind of people angry. One
Yes.
of the things that you have in your bio is that you are a men's rights activist. And I think that is something that is so cool when we deal with so many people who only talk about women's rights. How did that start?
Oh, wow. I mean, I've always pretty much been, I guess, neutral. I grew up working and being around the automotive industry. So my world has always really been predominantly male. Now, when I was in school, I always got the negative image and you know the just negativity from females because I went to a school that was predominantly black. I am not. My mother is white. My father is black. I don't consider myself either. I'm a mixture of many different things.
You're Lauren.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just Lauren.
I got you.
But they hated me. The females hated me because I was light skinned. I had long hair. You know, the stereotypical reasons for another woman to hate another
Sure.
woman, you know. So that kind of, you know, just really soured me against women. Not all of them. You know, I just thought at that point that it was how it was kids, and they were just mean kids, and that's how it was.
Right.
So growing up, you know, I entered the workforce, and now I'm working around a majority of males, and
Mhm.
I can clearly see the contrast between how males act towards one another and towards women, and the difference between how females act towards one another and towards males.
Right.
So
I'm
that was
I
yeah,
have to tell you, I would rather work with men any day than work with women. And I'm sorry, ladies, if you're listening, I love you and all, you're great. But I think women, and being a woman, I can say this, I think some women, and we can be crazy bitches. So I would rather work with men because men are usually about business. They, you know, they do their business, they leave me alone. I don't have to, you know, hear about their weekends because I'm just not like that. Is that kind of
exactly
is that what you experience as well when you're out working with men versus women?
exactly that's exactly right. You know, men keep it short and simple. They keep it straight to the point. And, you know, women want to talk about the insignificant things, the minutia of day-to-day life that really you're just wasting air talking about. You know?
No, it's true, and I hope that doesn't sound like I'm being catty because that's one of the things I don't like about women is, and I'm sorry, ladies, this is not about hating women, but when you're dealing with women, it can be very catty. You talk about
Yeah,
going to school, predominantly black school with women, black women who were mean to you because you had lighter skin and longer hair. That's catty and bitchy. Men don't do that. They don't care.
right,
And
right.
and and so why do you think? And this may be a little deep, and I'm sorry, but it seems like some of these women, and you know they're social justice warriors. I call them hyenas or feminazis or whatever. Why do you think they are trying? And it seems like they're trying to snuff men out. Like they don't want men to be men anymore. Why do you think
Um,
that is?
Because it just furthers their agenda. You know, if women are always seen as the victim, then they will always be seen as the one to need protection, and they will always be in need of someone to give them something instead of empowering themselves to do something. Because it's what I like to call the path of least resistance. If they don't If they don't have to do something, if someone else can do something for them, that is what they will do. That is where they will be.
But for me, that is not feminism. And I talk about feminism a lot on this show. And I think we're going to talk about it more as we get closer to 2016 because, the Democrats want to run a woman. And I don't know your political affiliation. I'm not going to push you on it either way. But what I know we have to address is women in positions of power and this idea of playing the victim. I don't see how that promotes feminism at all.
Exactly, and it doesn't. Time after time, I run into a feminist that says, "Well, we need more women in politics." Well,
why?
They have the right. Why exactly?
Why?
That's one very good point. Why? But first and foremost, if these women do not want to naturally, if they don't want to go into politics, who are you to force them and tell them that this is what they should do? That's not, you are telling women what they should be choosing instead of allowing them to make their own choices, which is what they say that they're about.
But they're not. And that is crazy. And I know you and I became friends because we both kind of interact in the same way with these women. We don't fall in line with the feminist agenda. And I always tell people I'm a classical feminist because I don't make excuses for failures. I don't blame men because my life isn't what I want it to be. And I think that the individual female is what matters, not the group think. And I certainly don't buy into the bullshit of rape culture and all the other nonsense. And I see you interact with them the same way I do. How much hate do you think you get on a daily basis dealing with feminists?
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
You know what? It all depends on my mood because there's some days when I don't post anything and, I'll get nothing, but there's some days when I approach things lightly, because it's not about arguing on Twitter. It does nothing. The only thing it might do is for a bystander, it might open their eyes or make them question, so that's why sometimes I engage a lot with some of these people just to try to open their eyes and their minds.
Well, I also see you defending people, and that's one of the things I'm really guilty of. I admit it. If I see someone, I will jump in. I see you doing the same thing, and I see you protecting men from them.
Well, yeah, exactly, because they automatically assume that, this is third wave feminism. Men are evil, and let's just go and seek them out and try to destroy them or dehumanize them or humiliate them, and what for? What good does that do?
Yeah,
It doesn't further your
understand
cause.
it. I don't understand it, and it seems like to me that feminism should be more about just the empowerment of women and being responsible and being powerful, and it seems like it's all about making enemies of men and calling what PIV, penis and vagina, was rape. I don't understand this thinking, and where do you think it's coming from?
Well, we have, for the first time in history, we have a majority of people who are raised in single-parent households. There is not a father around. And as studies have shown, children just do better. They thrive in two-parent households.
Yes.
And that's not what we have now, okay?
It's true.
It's become, they like to say, feminists and SJWs, they like to say how we are privileged, but really in today's society, the people who are privileged are people who came from two-parent households.
They really are. But, if you bring that up and you say, well, where's a father in a household? A father actually serves a major purpose in the household, and kids who have dads do better than kids who don't have dads. When you say something like that, though, immediately it's men suck, women are powerful, they don't need men, women can do it on their own. But really, I can speak from my own experience. My husband is a great dad, and without him, I don't know how I would get by with some of the days because our days are crazy, and my kids are so awesome, but part of that's because they have a dad.
Yeah, well, there was, and I believe it started in the 80s, this whole "you go girl" movement, where it was like,
you go
don't
girl.
need a man, go girl. You know, and listen, I appreciate the fact that women want to be empowered and feel empowered, but just eliminating men from the equation does not equal empowerment.
You go, girl. That is so funny.
But it's true, you know.
Yeah.
Women were told time and time again, because from women who got burned in bad relationships, that, oh, I don't need a man. I can do this on my own. I can have 4, 5, 6 kids, and
Ugh,
we
yeah.
gonna be all right. No, you're not. You're going to be dependent on the government.
Who's not a very good dad. I'm sorry.
No, they're not, you know. But, you know, then the government gets involved,
Yeah.
and I mean, there's a whole issue with that too, you know, because a lot of people don't even realize that the states earn money for every child that is put on to the child support system.
Sure. Yeah.
So why would they have an incentive to keep these things going? Why would they demand that DNA is required in a child support custody hearing?
Right.
They don't.
No.
Just look at that man in Detroit. The man was in jail when this woman got pregnant. And
It was in the water.
yeah. And they don't care. He is forced to pay that child support, even though he has proof that he is not the father of this child.
There's no
And that's
way.
just Detroit.
You know,
Right.
there's,
Well, that's
you know,
Detroit. And Detroit they're pretty bankrupt right now. So
yeah, that, you know, money any way they can get it. I understand that.
Yeah.
And you bring up an excellent point about the government. You know, anytime you talk, and I am extraordinarily pro-life, and it comes from having had a child 3 months early. And, you know, I'm very much about protecting the individual even in the womb. And you talk with people on the left, and a lot of times they say, well, you know, you're not willing to take care of this baby if it's born. So it's like if the baby's going to be poor and depend on the government, it should die. So I always think about that as the government is a crappy parent, and I don't understand how that could ever be a dad. And that's such a great point. Our government also rewards people, like they reward babies that are born out of wedlock. If you have a baby,
Yep.
you know, you have a 2-parent household and you have a kid, they pay you less even if you're both unemployed because you're married. So
Mhm.
government gives you an incentive to get divorced and have more babies on their dime.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I don't
It's
get it.
sickening.
It
It's
is.
sickening.
And
Instead of teaching, now I don't know about you, but when I graduated from high school, I had no idea how to balance a checkbook.
oh God, no.
Okay, our school systems do not teach our children how to handle life. Now, I'm not saying that sex education is the responsibility of the public education system, but there are things that they can teach children about how to be responsible adults,
Yeah,
you know, so that way they don't get pregnant at 15, 16 years old.
right.
I have a cousin who is a year younger than me. She had her first child at 13. She now has 6 children
Oh my God. At 13?
at 13.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it's unbelievable, you know. And of
No, that
course,
won't.
she didn't have a father in the home.
Well, my mother was 17 when I was born, so and it was rough, and she didn't last long. And I mean that's a reality of having a life like that. So you know,
Right.
I think there is something to be said about having that stability at home to raise children, and then being working hand in hand with education. Education has become a mess. It really is all
Exactly.
about the indoctrination of people. There was one school book, and I don't know if you saw this, it was in the news, that it compared Clarence Thomas to fascism and mentioned the KKK. It was in a school book.
Mm.
This is what they're teaching our kids now. And you're absolutely right. They don't teach them life skills. And I can't tell you how many interns have come into my office and who can't write a basic paragraph.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
can write a book report, but they can't sit down and write an email. So there is a disconnect there. And I think it all stems back into this idea of, you know, you go girl, you do your own thing. You don't need to worry about structure or any of that. I think there's a lot of good
Right.
things to be said for structure. And I think that all stems from this notion of be yourself and don't worry about it. And you go, girl. I can't get off that. You go, girl. Um,
Exactly. It's as if men are disposable.
yes.
And that is so absurd. If it takes two people to create a life, it takes two people to responsibly help that child grow into a normal adult, a normal functioning adult.
But the
Okay.
law doesn't like to give men any rights at all when it comes to a child. If you're not married, even if you are married, if something happens, dad usually doesn't get the kids. Mom has to be like crackhead, bugs in the house, and no heat to lose the kids. That's just
Yeah.
how the system works. But
Exactly.
the men have no say if a woman aborts, if a woman puts the kid up for adoption. He has no rights whatsoever when it comes to that
Exactly.
situation. Yeah.
Exactly. And it really infuriates me when I see a lot of men go, well, what are you talking about men's rights? Oh, I have all the rights I need. And I'm just like, wow. No, you really don't. I mean, if you knock someone up today, you have no say in whether that child gets born or not, whether you're pro-life or pro-choice.
Right.
You have no say in what happens with that pregnancy.
Nope.
And what I love is the hypocrisy, because we're speaking about men's rights.
Right.
What I love is the hypocrisy about how people say, oh, yes, a child inside the womb is absolutely human and has all these rights, but the minute that child is born, if he's a male,
Forget it.
I'm going to circumcise him.
Yeah.
Going to circumcise him, and it's not his choice. And oh well, that's just what we do.
But and I'm so glad you brought that up because people were bringing that up in my timeline. I hadn't even thought about that because honestly, what you just said, it's just what you do. I had my son 7 years ago. I didn't even question it. It didn't even occur to me that we shouldn't maybe do that because it's
Right.
just what we do. My son didn't get a choice. I feel horrible. Now I've been thinking about that today. I'm like, oh my God, what if one day he says, Mom, I didn't want to be circumcised. Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Didn't even occur to me
Well,
that was his right not to do that.
exactly, and that's what a part of men's rights is about. It's about bodily autonomy. Okay, women have it, men do not.
It's
It is
absolutely
completely
right.
illegal for a female to be circumcised in any way, shape, or form. Um, but it's perfectly fine for a man, and I think that religion has some of the blame to carry here,
Sure.
because of course, if you're Jewish and you're a male, and it's just what you do.
It's just what you do.
But right, um, and that's a hard one, because
It
if
is.
you're in America and you give people the freedom of religion, and your religion says that you can cut your child, who is the government to step in and say, no, you shouldn't be able to do that?
Right. But
So
it's just like, even in the hospital, they're like, okay, when do you want your son circumcised? It wasn't even like I was like, hey, Mrs. Janney, do you want to do this? I just said, oh, yeah, I can't watch, though. I don't want to know anything about it because it was a horrible thought to me that they were going to do that. But it didn't
exactly.
even occur to me that he may not want it. And so I learned something. And this is funny because I was like, today I thought for sure I would say, well, we're talking about men's rights. And I thought I'd get the we want to write sandwiches and all this kind of stuff. I thought they'd be funny. And there were like 2 or 3 men are like, man, you should talk about circumcision. I'm like, holy crap, I didn't even think about it. And
Yeah, it's to the point in society now where a man's body, his own body, isn't even his to make decisions with.
isn't that
And
bizarre?
that
Because that's what the women are telling you is happening to women. Well, it's my body, my
exactly,
choice. And I'll wear a short
exactly,
skirt if I want to. And that doesn't mean I should get raped. And well, no one said it does mean you should get raped. But they have no idea what that really feels like because it's not happening to them. It's happening to men. And what's
exactly.
another piece of that? Because when it was all about the rape stuff, because there was these yes all women, crazy women, they're talking about rape, and I actually looked at statistics and how many men are raped. It's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely horrendous, and they didn't even want to talk about that. Well, men, we just need to teach men not to rape. What you think
Right,
men go?
exactly.
Well, I didn't know any better. Bullshit. They know it's wrong. We don't teach them not to do it.
Yeah, here is their logical thought process. Men think it's okay to rape, but only other men. But it's not okay to talk about that. But when they rape women, it's perfectly fine because all men are rapists.
Yes. Oh my God. Well, that feminist who said all any kind of penis and vagina sex is rape because it's violent. I'm like, yeah, if you're doing it right, damn it. But it drove me nuts.
And there's so many feminists that I talk to that say, oh, well, that's not my kind of feminism. Well, this is the kind of feminism that is mainstream.
Yeah.
Because these people are talking about it and they are getting the attention. So what kind of feminism should we be talking about?
Right.
I'm so sick and tired of, well, I don't support that, but I'm a feminist. Well,
But you're not. And what's interesting is when you talk to older ladies, there are plenty of like 50 and 60, 70-year-olds. Sorry for older ladies. I don't mean to be disrespectful because I'm 42 almost. So whatever. But you talk to these ladies who are like, I was alive in the 70s, and they're almost as obnoxious though as these younger girls. They're like, they don't, it's just a clump of cells and it's my body and men are evil and men are second-class citizens. This is one I've seen a lot too. Men are second-class citizens. My husband pointed out anytime there's a commercial on now, it's always like, oh, look at the dumb white guy or look at the dumb black guy. It's always the guy is stupid and the woman's smart.
Exactly.
We're just going down a really ugly path. And that to me is taking away equality. And I think that's what feminists say. I'm all about equality. As long as equality means I'm pissing all over a guy's rights is what it feels like.
Exactly. And so one of the other subjects that I really wanted to press on, because this is one of my number one issues, is parental rights.
Yeah.
Men just don't have them. There is such a bias towards women in our child support system. And when they go to court, the family court, men do not have the right to be named automatically the parent.
No.
Or they have to fight for that right to even get joint custody. Even to get joint custody, to share equal time. It costs thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in court fees. I'm talking about lawyer and
miserable.
Just to be able to see your child.
Oh yeah. But I have a really good friend. He is a single dad, and he talks about everything he went through to have. He's predominant custody, but it took months and months and months of court. And it was, for me, if something, God forbid, happened between my husband and I would just, the judge goes, okay, she's not a crackhead, and there's heat in the house, and she's not feeding them rats. She gets the kids.
Yeah.
And I could be the crappy parent, and it wouldn't matter because I have a vagina, so I'm mom, and I get the kids. Even though if my husband is a better parent.
Exactly. And I hear that story time and time and time again. Women like to say that, oh, well, he's just not fighting for his rights. And if he really wanted to be there, no. I don't know. Men are naturally hardwired to be protective over women, and even more so over their own children.
Oh, absolutely.
So anyone that tries to say that men they just don't want to be there. Well, if that's the case, then he probably didn't want to be there from the beginning, and he was forced into being a parent.
But the woman though is the victim in that situation. It's the woman's fault, and the man's fault, not her fault. It's always, and that is what drives me insane. Is because I think being a strong woman is never being a victim and playing that role. And I feel like that's what feminists today do, and they do that by saying men are big meanies, making the world uninhabitable for us. And it sounds like to me from you, and you bring up some great points, that men really are getting the short end of the stick. They just are.
They really are. If you want to blame men or it's men's fault, well, then why don't you give men more options? Why don't men
there
have
you
more?
go.
Why don't men have more options for birth control? Seriously, I mean, and again, time and time again, I'll hear a feminist say, "Oh, well, he should have kept it in his pants."
Well, why don't you keep it in your pants, honey?
Exactly.
Oh, but now you're slut shaming. Don't do that, Lauren, because now you're slut shaming. God, these women. I'm sorry. You know what's really fun, and I know this is totally inappropriate. sometimes I'll just say, okay, bitch, whatever, and they lose their damn mind.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, they
so bad.
do.
I'm not trying to form a dialogue with these women. I'm really trying to shut them down because I'm so
Well, yeah,
tired of them.
yeah, no, and I'm almost in the same space, because they are not going to listen. They don't care about what we have to say. They don't care about men as human beings. So
No,
why would they care about what you or I, their fellow woman, has to say about what is really equality and what's not? They
right?
don't want to hear it.
No.
If we are going against their um,
That's
fairy tale image of
the
what life should be,
utopia.
yeah,
My husband is my best friend. I love him more than anything. I have a son, and I see these women doing what they can to tear men down, and it just infuriates me because, like, men are hardwired to protect women and their children. We're twice as hardwired to protect our families. And
yeah.
I worry about my son in this environment. I really do.
Yeah, and you should be. I mean, honestly, it's to the point now where young boys in school are seen as defective females,
What?
and yes, if
Defective
they don't
females?
defective females,
Oh,
okay,
gosh.
if they don't act, if a male child in school, if he is too loud or too boisterous, the teachers can't handle them. And what do? Now you have generations of boys who are all prescribed Ritalin so that they can
Yeah.
calm down. You know, boys have a natural tendency to be rambunctious.
Yeah. I have a
A
7-year-old.
teacher,
I know. There is nothing, but I would never want him Ritalin. I would never want him to be quiet. I love that my son is somebody who goes and rolls in the dirt and comes in and he's filthy and he farts and laughs about it. I mean, there are manly things that he does already that I want to make sure and foster and keep in him. And you bring up a great
right,
point. Society doesn't like
right,
that.
right. And but when these kids get to school, they're expected to be quiet and listen to the teacher and sit down for 8 hours or however many hours they're in school. They're supposed to be quiet and focus. That's not any child. That wasn't me when I was that age.
Me either.
I was all over the place.
Yeah, me too.
Um, but these teachers can't handle it. And instead of getting in trouble and disciplining a child too much,
Oh, yeah.
they don't want to have to do that. Again, it's the path of least resistance.
Path. Okay, so there are some things I'm taking away because I've only got like 2 minutes left. This has been awesome. I need to have you back on. But there's some things
Yeah.
I'm taking away from this conversation. The path of least resistance and the you go girl feminism. I love those two. I'm totally stealing them from you. I want to make sure people know where they find you in social media. So, because you say some really smart things and you're a lot of fun to follow. How do they find
Oh,
you?
thank you so much. I am on Twitter all day, every day at JustLaurenB. You can find me, follow me, tweet me. I'll tweet back. I am doing some work with the men's rights group, A Voice for Men. Look for me there. I'll be doing some things with them very soon.
Cool.
Also,
Is that? I didn't know you were doing that. Yeah, I would love to hear more about that. Send that my way.
yes, I will. We can talk again because I'm going to be a part of their next international conference on men's issues.
I love it. I love that. Yes, please keep me posted on that because
Absolutely will.
I think about my son every time I see this craziness. Give him your name one more time on social media and I'll let you go.
I am at Just Lauren B.
Awesome. Well, just Lauren B., you are awesome. I'm so glad you called. You're such a blast. Thank you so much for being on the air.
Oh, thank you, Bunny. I love you so much.
Oh, I love you too. And I will see you in social media. Stay out of trouble. And if you're in trouble, tag me and I'll help out.
All right.
All right. Take care, sweetheart.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
I adore her. Okay, guys, you hear Edith Piaf singing in the background? Yeah, I'm hearing her too. Okay, that means I'm almost done. I know it goes by so quick, guys, and thank you for sitting here and listening to me yammer on. If you get a chance, go out and find Just Lauren B. She's wonderful, she's brilliant, and she's fighting the good fight for men's rights. And I wasn't making a joke. We are talking about men's rights. I'm out of here. I will be back next week live. Stick around for the best of show of real serious nonsense best of show. I hope I said that right. Anyway, after that is also the Stafford Voice with Daniel Stafford. Stay put. We're so glad you're here with Playtainment. I will see you next next week. Take care.
Ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. Car ma vie, car mes joies, aujourd'hui.
It is the original and classic Gang of 405.
I certainly believe that there is a leadership vacuum.
I love that Senator Cruz is taking the lead on this. He's the point man, and he should be. He's down in Texas.
Tammy, I think it's worse than that. I seriously think something is wrong with Nancy Pelosi.
He doesn't know his Constitution. He doesn't know his boundaries of authority.
If these children are turned around and sent back to Guatemala, are they in an